Joining me is the panel, Michael Kroger, former Victorian Liberal President, Stephen Conroy, former Labor Senator and Cabinet Minister. Michael, what does this tell you? Keeping secret China's attack on one of our warships and its sailors so that he doesn't have to confront China's president?
I think this guy's just out of his depth, isn't he? I think the more we see of Albanese, he's just not done the hard work over the years to work out how you behave as Prime Minister. So twists and turns and nuance and chicanery. I think he might be really out of his depth, and it showed with his hopeless performance over The Voice. I mean, Hawke or Keating would never have done that. They would never have been led by the nose by an extreme Aboriginal leadership. He's been passable on the Israel situation, but just passable. I mean, he hasn't been out there condemning Hamas and condemning anti-Semitism to the extent he should have been. And this sort of stuff with the Chinese, it's all too tricky. And in foreign policy, you get found out. So I just wonder whether he's out of his depth. I wonder whether he's up to the job. Doesn't appear to me that he is.
Fancy that you use FaceTime with the Chinese president to talk about pandas and whether New Zealand red wine is better than Australia, but you don't happen to mention, oh, by the way, one of your ships attacked our sailors.
Look, I think, Andrew, that you're confusing the two types of conversations. The panda conversation was after a formal meeting, formally agreed discussion points, not an on the sidelines discussion. So he's quite right to say, when you pull people aside, you have the chat. That's a confidential conversation. When you have the formal meetings and everyone's agreed what we're going to talk about and everyone knows that's what's going to be talked about, then you have that conversation. So don't make them sound like they're the same thing, because they're not.
I really admire you, Stephen. I tell you what, if I'm on trial for my life, I want you. Yeah. I want you. But listen, let me give you a point of difference. Tony Abbott said he was going to shirt front Vladimir Putin. He did it, and he told us about it. This is serious. Why didn't Albanese shirt front the Chinese president and tell us about it?
Let's be clear. The Abbott, Turnbull, Morrison governments made a hash of our relationship with our biggest trading partner. They managed to achieve nothing with China and at the same time get a whole range of our tradable items outrageously banned by China.
My question was why he didn't say it.
What Albo has been able to do with Penny is actually get us back on a stable footing and get most of our goods back in without conceding a thing.
Without conceding a thing. Michael, the thing that he just conceded was, oh, you can attack our warships and hurt our sailors, and don't worry, President Xi, mum's the word. I mean, seriously, that's what he conceded.
I don't think you'd accuse Albo of being strong in international affairs. I mean, he's just tiptoeing into these relationships. Look, Xi is a master. He's toying. If when they say to him, we've got the Australian Prime Minister Albanese coming in to see you, Xi must think, oh, well, that's an hour of my life I'll never get back. I mean, he's just toying with Albo. This guy's one of the great political masters of our generation. President.
But let me tell you, on that point, Stephen, I know you're not going to bag Albanese, although seriously, this is subpar. This is embarrassing. The bigger picture is this: China can have you come in. The president can smile on you.
Absolutely.
The premier can call you handsome boy, and pledge eternal peace, and the very next week they go and do this.
Absolutely. I've said consistently on the show, Andrew, and I know you've always made the point that I have, that you don't believe what China says. They can say anything kind to you in the world they want. You just watch what they do. They don't keep their word. They deliberately have militarised islands. They're the masters, as Michael's just described, playing what we call the grey zone war, where they don't do anything that's just across the line of actual military conflict, but they'll do things like fire chaff in front of planes. They'll shine lasers into pilots' eyes. They'll fire sonar bursts to potentially scare off / in this case injure Australian sailors. And you don't believe the words that they say. They are not a good international partner. It is a dictatorship, and Xi is increasingly exerting.
Prime Minister Stephen Conroy said, I don't think it would have been nothing. I don't think it would have been nothing. That's not your character.